I know that I'll talk a little bit about Dinesh and my ongoing battles with Dinesh. And on May 19th, there's a big court hearing uh, in uh, in Fort Myers, Florida, federal court, which I'm going to be covering, and we're going to hear
Hmm.
more about. I am the star of the show there because
Hmm.
Dinesh has said that I am the person, me and this other guy, Joey Camp, who I think is in South America, who's one of my sources in the story.
Hmm.
Uh, Me and him engaged in witness intimidation
Hmm.
of a witness named Nick Laporte.
I've got your latest article about Dinesh. I don't know if this is the one you're referring to, but you said watch Dinesh Noshirvan lie. Is this
Oh
what you're?
yeah, this guy. This is part of it. Yeah, he comes and
All right.
he lied. He's a pathological liar, and
Hmm.
so it feeds into what his accusations against me are. He says
Hmm.
that I engaged in witness intimidation of Laporte by virtue of the fact that I published articles, journalistic articles. Part of the
Hmm.
article, I published an expert report that I received from a protected source, right? As a journalist, that's my job is to go get information. It was prepared in relation to the case. There was no
Hmm.
protective order. I was totally in bounds, and I even redacted portions of the report. And he says that was witness intimidation. That was
Hmm.
some type of coordination to intimidate. Once the
Right.
report went out,
And let me just interrupt you. And then when I started asking questions on the Hales case of what's her name, Shara, she started saying that was witness intimidation. So this is a trick that corrupt people use. That you trying to gather information too aggressively, that you getting a document that is too good is somehow violates the law as witness intimidation. Wayne Dolcefino, a journalist I absolutely love, got a an audio recording that was absolutely dynamite, and he got sued. They claimed that he engaged in, I don't know, wiretapping or something. It was ridiculous. He got the document. It was part of like a motion or something. Like it's a way to try to frustrate you, to get you to back off. It's a form of lawfare. All of this stuff is. And Shara, I did
keep
block
that
her after
part
that
up.
because.
Keep that part up, Mike, because I'm going to talk about that next.
Mhm.
This part we
Mhm.
have with that post that he made. Now, so Dinesh, he doesn't like the fact that I can write, and so he made his own Substack page. And
Mhm.
so he started trying to be a written journalist. He only does like TikTok videos, and he started writing. I think he has less than 10 posts, and he's already
Mhm.
defamed at least 10 people. And
Mhm.
keep this up here because this is very important. He defamed me in a written post that he emailed out to thousands of his followers on Substack and that have millions of followers overall. He
Mhm.
said that I was a pedophile. He called me
Right.
a pedophile in writing. That's
Mhm.
defamation per se. So what I did was I sued him in federal court, and I commenced the lawsuit. And then if you see that map, that's Boca Raton, right?
Mhm.
Above that, you see what Dinesh says. He says up there in the post, just above that you scroll down past, he says, I'm going to be in can any locals recommend any food places in Boca Raton, somewhere well lit in cameras? He's talking on social media on Tuesday of that week about how he's going to Boca Raton to do his deposition. What do I
Mhm.
do as an investigative journalist? I looked up all the places where they do depositions in Boca Raton. There are only
Mhm.
7 or 8 of them. And so then I called up every one of those places and I said, yes, I was calling about the Noshirvan versus Couture deposition. And
Mhm.
one of the places says, oh, yeah, that's tomorrow at 9:30. So I sent a
Mhm.
process server there and I served him with the papers. He's
Right.
making a big thing about this that somehow somebody leaked to me the location of his deposition, the secret location. He
Right.
said it on social media 3 days before, and I tracked him down. He's a
Right.
moron. The guy's a total idiot. So he's making
Right.
this stuff up. I'm suing him now for defamation per se, and I'm going to win because
Mhm.
it's in the per se category. It's in black and white, but he's also defamed big law partners.
All right.
He's also
Before you go on, when you say defamation per se, what does that mean in layman's terms?
in layman terms, sometimes you can say something so bad that the court is going to assume that it's extremely harmful. And in
And
Florida, we
and in general, that's when you falsely accuse someone of a crime, like in the Hales case, being accused of a child rapist. It can be considered
in
defamation
Florida,
per se.
especially, Michael, in Florida
Mhm.
especially, the law has been amended in 2021 by DeSantis and the legislature to provide for the death penalty for pedophiles that attack children under the age of 12. Okay, so he's saying that not only do you need social death by virtue of the accusation, I want you to have real death. So I'm suing him for $20 million, $5 million for the defamation per se, and another $15 million of treble damages for the outlandish and outrageous, punitive damages for the statement that he made. He needs to be punished. He really does. And then, of course, there's the issue is that he's already killed or responsible for the death, criminally responsible for the death of Coach Aaron Delatorre in Texas. He's the high school coach and teacher that ended up killing.
For those who haven't followed that, how is he responsible for that guy's death?
He made a false allegation that the guy put his hands on a kid in a store. There was no video, and there was only some video from a parking lot of a subsequent altercation. He lied. He used AI. He used all sorts of other things. So it had false information that he pumped out there, created an outrage. When the cops investigated, they cleared him. They said nothing happened here. The guy was so distraught, though, that everybody believed that he put his hands on a kid, that enforced, and that because of Jerry Sandusky and because of Larry Nassar. If you put your hands on a kid and you're a coach, your career's over. Doesn't matter that you put your hands on them to say knock it off, knucklehead, which it was proven by the cops that Aaron Delatorre didn't do. But the allegation alone, it's the same as a groomer or someone that may sexually try to touch a kid. And his career as a coach, he was a decorated coach, was over. So he believed so. I didn't think it was, but he believed it. It's a matter of what was in his mind, and he offed himself. And that's it was. I think it was his birthday. It would have been his 50th birthday yesterday or the day before.
Right. And you have a photo of Judge Jack Weinberg up. How is Judge Jack Weinberg? Weinstein. I'm sorry. Judge Jack, and I think he's dead now, isn't he?
He died a few years ago. Yeah.
Right. How is he involved in this case?
Jack Weinstein was my judge in the federal case, and they came in and they said Luthmann this, and they're trying to use all the stuff that they said about me in the past. That they said that I held people up by gunpoint. They said I did this. I said that I did that. It's all bullshit that the FBI office made. Weinstein said, well, the very big thing is that he was running the Italian mafia, like Cosa Nostra, and the Chinese mafia, which I don't even know if there's a such thing. It's called the Tong or whatever it is. But I was running from a Staten Island strip mall. Weinstein said, if he's in the Italian mafia, what family is he? And they're like,
right, and they couldn't say.
There were 5 families in the Italian mafia. They could not give the name of the family. And then they came back a week later and said, oh, Luthmann's co-defendant, his grandfather was at Lucky Luciano's wedding back in 1949. They had nothing. It was pure bullshit by the FBI New York office. So, and Dinesh is repeddling those lies. But in reality, he doxed the Supreme Court of the United States. That's that video right there, where he doxes the Supreme Court of the United States. The justices, not all of them, only the 6 he didn't like, the conservatives that overturned Roe v. Wade. And he was the guy responsible. And as Ted, actually, hit that video, hit the Ted Cruz video, because that kind of lays it out right there, how bad of a dude this guy is.
But in the wake of the leak of the Dobbs decision, when rioters descended on the homes of 6 Supreme Court justices, night after night after night, you did nothing. The department did nothing. When extremist groups like Ruth Sent Us and Jane's Revenge openly organized campaigns of harassment at the homes of justices, you sat on your hands. When these same groups posted online information about where the justices worship, or their home addresses, or where their kids went to school, you again sat on your hands and did nothing. Your failure to act to protect the safety of the justices and their families was an obvious product of political bias. You agree with Roe versus Wade. You disagree with the Dobbs decision. And the Department of Justice under this president was perfectly happy to refuse to enforce the law and allow threats of violence. And as you know, those threats finally materialized with Nicholas Roski, a 26-year-old man from California.
Listen, is he going to ask a question? Is he going to ask a question?
Yeah, he got to it at the end. He probably
this looks like a speech. This is what I hate about senators. You're supposed to ask a question, and I'm supposed to make a speech.
California, who traveled across the country, was arrested outside the home of Justice Kavanaugh, armed with a handgun, a knife, and burglary tools. And he said he came there to kill Justice Kavanaugh because he was enraged by the leaked opinion.
Anyway, I've got an update. Cue the music. Consequences of my actions chasing me right now.
All right.
Okay. So this guy, basically, he's one of the people that contributed. He doxed Supreme Court justices. He has online crazies, mentally ill people following him, and he was a contributing factor here. He was not even contacted, investigated, or anything else in the wake of this by the Biden DOJ. And it's still within the statute of limitations. It was 2022. It's a 5-year statute. He can be prosecuted until 2027 under a 5-year statute of limitations. He does this with impunity. It's not just the Supreme Court justices that are the victims of Dinesh. Now it's a big law partner. And so then now we have this. This is the best part right here. So this picture right here is a picture from his OnlyFans site. Okay. And that OnlyFans picture is part of a filed court document. It's in the filed court documents. It was not stricken by a federal court judge. It's totally blocked out, the sensitive parts. But in a deposition recently, one of those women is Dinesh Noshirvan's wife, right? And she said, she admitted under oath, she didn't know that she was producing OnlyFans content for Dinesh while she was doing it. Dinesh got thrown off of OnlyFans because he didn't do the model releases under 2257. Meaning that if you do adult pornography, right, you do consensual pornography, you have to sign up for release. Well, who are those two girls? We know one of them is his wife who never signed a release. Who's the other one? Is that woman over 18 years old? Because that's the reason why Congress put that in the first place, to ensure that women aren't being exploited doing pornography, and that especially children are not performing pornography. So he committed a felony by virtue of not filing, not registering under 2257 who those women are, who the performers are. We need to ensure that women are not being exploited. We need to ensure that children are not performing commercial pornography in America. That is what the rule is. And this man belongs in prison. That is the truth. So that's why I'm going after this guy. I'm going after him full bore. I'm suing him. I hope that I don't collect a penny from him because he's already in federal prison by the time it gets to it in my case. That is my sincere hope.
All right. Very well said. I have nothing to add, and that is the end of the program. We'll be back next week.